What's good with it in the hood with it? Welcome back to the Collective Clips where you already know. I'm about to get it in, but before I get it in, let's get this intro in one time for your mind. Welcome back to the Collective Clips. And if you ain't ready, you better be ready because it's a new super going down today. Super Theo. My most I'm going to call him my favorite uncle. I got two, one on each side of the family. This one is just, he's winning by a nose, right? He had a longer nose. He's winning by a nose. Hey, if you haven't hit that like and subscribe button, make sure you go ahead and do that. Put your notification bell on all so that way you're directing the direction of the dope content that the gun stays kicking. And I appreciate you, brothers. Thank you. I'm very humble. Thank you for all your support. So I've talked about my Theo Joe in the past, my mentor, the devil on my shoulder, not the angel. Fuck no, not the angel, right? There wasn't an angel about him. He wasn't angelic. Nothing like that. His vato was a Diablo, straight devil on my shoulder, always in my ear. Did he try to give me good game, good knowledge you couldn't get in college? Absolutely. But it always ended up fucked up. You know what I mean? Hey, he was one of those dudes, he couldn't win for losing, right? It just was what it was, man. I loved him dearly. And I'll tell you guys a little bit about his story. So this is the rise and fall of an OG Norteno, one of the first Northern Structure members. Now, they've got, over the course of time, Northern Structure has developed a few different names, okay? But he's old school Structure. Like, he was one of the first individuals, you know, in Tracy prison pulled and was doing his thing. And Avatar got out all heroin, high-powered out. You know what I mean? Hey, come here, little homie. You know, come on, man. Stop it. Hey, isn't that a fucking needle hanging out of your arm? Like, what are you doing? My deal was different. He didn't care what you thought about him. The loudest person in the room. Hey, how the fuck are you going to be in Oakland at the welfare department and be the loudest one in the room and you're Mexican? Like I said, the loudest one in the room. My uncle was just, one of them dudes, you didn't cross him or fuck with him because he wasn't the one, but he got along with everybody. Man, we'd go to Oakland. He had a gang of brothers, man, that was cool with them. You know what I'm saying? He kicked it with some Hell's Angels. That vato was a straight up Northern Structure member. Like, he was cool with everyone except for Southsiders. He didn't really care. He wasn't too fond of Southsiders, right? But if there was one that happened to be there, he'd be like, hey, what's up, Benny? Right? That's just how he was. He was a cool-ass dude, man, and we have a gang of crazy adventures that we did together. So I'm going to make this a super series because there was some adventures. And I'm going to tell you guys about a couple adventures. Some of the old school stories that I've told before with a twist, right? Just is what it is. So I remember being a young kid. And you remember the movie Back to the Future, Jailbird Joey? Well, this was our Jailbird Joey. My Theo always locked up. I could distinctly remember as a little kid in the crib looking up at him like, what is that on his fucking neck? And it was blood from the vein that he had slammed, right? What is that, right? My uncle, at a very young age, got into the spoon. His spoon was always wet, like a Messy Mark song. It was wet, right? He was one of those dudes, he was going to hustle. He was a hard worker, just like all my other Theos, his brothers, they weren't into the bullshit. He was the one that just, like I said, the Jailbird Joey of the family. But that vato worked for his. He didn't go steal, burglarize, we hit a couple licks, but you know what I'm saying? That's neither here nor there. He didn't do too much. That vato was a good construction worker. He worked. He was around his family all the time. He loved his family, but he loved the spoon just a little bit more. That was his thing. So I distinctly remember as a kid, man, my uncle always getting in and out of prison. We'd have barbecues, and you always knew something was wrong with them because my Theo would pull up. He'd be like, yeah, what's up, man? Big old whip, right? What's up? What's going on, right? And I always wanted to be like my Uncle Joe. That's why I became a Norteno in the first place. It wasn't because I seen the dudes outside hanging out and I seen the girls and the money and the cars and that. Nah, I did it because my Uncle Joe was doing it. And he was like the father figure that I wanted because my dad was too busy in Tehachapi prison when it was mainline doing his thing. Right? My dad was in and out of prison, in and out of my life. I hardly seen him. I remember one time I seen my dad passing in traffic. I was like, damn, that song's bumping. He was in a mini truck with a beanie looking at me like, fuck you looking at? Hey, oh shit, you're my son. Right? That's how much interaction me and my father had. He just was in and out of me and my brother and sister's lives. No big deal. No big deal. I knew who he was. I knew who his family was. He just was always in prison. So when my Uncle Joe would get out of prison, he was come live with us, always be there. This is my mom's younger brother, right? And we got along. And he goes, hey, one time he pulled me to the side. He's like, hey, you know what your destiny is, eh? What? He said, to fight for the cause. I said, well, what's the cause? Oh, you're going to find out about it. You know why you're going to fight for the cause? I said, why? Cause I told you to. I was like, all right. So I always wanted to strive and be like him. He'd get out new tattoos on swole. But every time he pulled up to the party, he'd always have a fucking sweater on. Always had a sweater on, right? It's 119 degrees in the Central Valley. I'm like, Theo, you know, I'm like a dumb kid. I know, but I don't, right? I play it off. Theo, why you got a sweater on? He was a straight up OG. He didn't lie, didn't bullshit you, wasn't trying to play you out your pockets. He'll just fucking take whatever you had in it, right? He said, what do you mean? I said, why you got a sweater on? Theo, it's hot. Let's go swimming or something. He said, because I just slammed and I'm trying to cover up my tracks. All right, cool. All right. I get it. You know what I mean? He was just straight up about his business. I can say that. So what happened with my Theo was this. When he was in DVI prison, because he was always in Tracy prison, man, that's the reception, Central Valley. And one thing I should note, my uncle was a hybrid. He wasn't your average Central Valley Norteno from Turlock, because that's where he was from, Turlock. But he grew up half of his life in the Bay Area in Oakland. So he had a little brother in him. I don't know if there was ever any little brother in him, but I'm just saying he had some brother in him. He had some soul, right? He was one of those Mexicanos that, what's up, blood, right? That from Oakland, but also with the Central Valley twist. So he was like a Tesla. He was hybrid out. You didn't know one day if he was a Valley guy or a Bay Area guy. You could tell by the color of his teeth. So that's good. When he put the grill in, Theo's from Oakland today, right? When the Valto's wearing suspenders and a fucking mean-ass brim hat, that's and he's on meth, that's Turlock right there. You know, there's always been a running joke. You know, when because I got a lot of family from Turlock, like my Theos and Theas and cousins and shit. I can't bone no chick in Turlock, man. I'm susceptible to my baby growing a tail, right? I'm related to everyone. But my Theo and them, we used to clown. We used to say, this is just recently, not him, but other Theos, right? Like, damn, bro, you ever seen that movie, The Walking Dead? It's so fucked up in Turlock. The first 4 seasons were filmed there. The last ones were filmed in Stockton. You know, it's just, that's how we clown. It's meth monsters out there. But my Theo was a hybrid. So he had homeboys from everywhere. He did a lot of time. So he was in Tracy prison. And what happened was, back in them days, they like to share the cuca. They like to share the thing, right? Says que me and about to share the cuca many a times, eh? Already pie face will tell you. My uncle was the equivalent to pie face in there. He was just sharing it. And he ended up contracting a deadly disease. I'm going to leave that up to you guys to realize what it was. He got all of them. Whatever you can get from sharing a thing, he got from hep to nope, more pep in his step, right? He got all of it. And so through his life, he went through pastillas, pills, and medication, and finally, and he was a big time H addict. And finally, after years and years and years of going through that shit, he realized, hey, I can't take it no more, right? So he started drinking heavily. And in the midst of doing that, his drinking wasn't like my drinking, like have a fucking sip and I'm good. His was like 40 ounce after 40 ounce. Like he moved on to a different vice because he couldn't really do that one anymore. It just wasn't working out for him in his favor. And we're talking about 40 years straight of slamming, right? But he was a good dude. He was a solid dude. He was a funny dude. He was the type that he'll tell you a joke and then slap you if you didn't laugh. Like, it was crazy. Because some of his jokes were bullshit. He'd be like, hey, did you ever hear the one about the Indian and the cowboy? I'll be like, nah, what happened? Yeah. The Indian shot the cowboy with the arrow. What's this? What? Bitch, I said the Indian. Okay, yeah, that's funny, eh? You know, go Tonto. He was just different like that, but I loved him because he was real. And he's the one that put me up on game. You know, this is what I'll distinctly remember this. I'll never forget it. When I was going to the youth authority, he was there for my trial, right? Or for when I was taking my deal. And he pulls up. He's with my mom. My dad happened to be there. I was very surprised, right? And they're right there, and they're in the front row. And my mom's, you know, shedding a tear, and my Theo's fucking like proud of me, and my dad's just like, you fucking the family name up, like, motherfucker, you ain't been to prison 100 times already. And I'm sitting there as a little kid that didn't learn my lesson, right? Just like, fuck, man, I can't believe I'm on trial for a murder case. And my fucking uncle tells me, I get up, the lawyer's like, okay, this is what he's running my mom down on the sentence that I got, what I signed on, right? And my uncle says, don't drop the soap. And I said, no way, right? Motherfucker, this ain't American. This ain't a movie. But he was like, no, I'm for real, because in YA, when you drop the soap, you got to let it go, Holmes. Don't pick it up. You can drop it, but don't pick it up, if you understand what I'm saying. I said, why, are they going to bone me, or what's going to happen? Because I ain't going to go out like that. Motherfucker, I'm going to make a night, right? He said, no, it's because it's leva. It doesn't matter. You'll be leva one day. You'll find out. I'm like, what? My uncle was crazy like that. He said, I'm just fucking with you, or am I? One never knows. That's one. So me and my uncle were very close. He ends up disappearing for a while, right? He went to go work. He went to Mexico. He was all over the place. And years later, I go to prison. I go to YA. I go to prison. We have a whole bunch of things. So it's my first day out of prison after I'm not active. Okay. The first times I get out, I'm still functioning. I'm active. Go right in the hood. The homies got love for me. You know how it is, right? But now I'm not active, so nobody got love for me. Now I'm still in the city. I'm still in the neighborhood, but I'm not of the neighborhood. You understand what I'm saying? Homeboys ain't. I just got out, so let's see who knows and who doesn't, right? So it was my first day out. And I've told this story before, but here's the twist. It's my first day out, and I'm walking down a street called G Street in Merced. That was actually the street where Lucky from Hoodstocks was at the store doing push-ups and shit. It's called G Street. So I'm walking down G Street. It's hot than a motherfucker. It's summertime. I got a tank top on, tatted down. I just paroled, but this time I paroled non-active, meaning I'm not a gang member no more, right? That means gang members are probably going to get at me more. And as I'm walking down the street, I see a bluish green, looks like a Ford Explorer or Navigator, whatever it was, sees me, and I see it's my homeboy that I was in Mexico with, like one of my homeboys, right? Super in the mix. In fact, that fool's fucking just beat a murder case recently, right? He's like with the business. He sees me, I see him, we lock eyes. He hits the U-turn, he pulls up on me. I'm like, thank God the homie's gonna give me a ride. Well, he wasn't one of those homies to forgive and forget. He's like, what's up, bro? What's up with you? I said, what's up? He said, yeah, the homies, we're going to get at you. I said, well, you can get at me right now. Now I'm in the fucking, man, it's too hot for this bullshit mode, right? You can get at me right now. He's like, nah, I'll get at you. And he peeled off on me, left me in a whole bunch of dust in my mouth. I was like, damn, I should have just stood active. This is bullshit, right? Anyways, I'm walking, and it's getting too hot, and the pro office is far away from there, right? So I call my Theo. Hey, Theo, can you come pick me up? He's like, nah, I ain't gonna pick you up. You're gonna have to suffer, You're gonna have to suffer the bullshit because you are not good no more, right? I'm like, what does that have to do with picking me up? You're my fucking uncle. This guy used to change my diapers when I was little. Yeah, I don't even want to think about that. It's because you were working with more than I was. Right? So he's different. He's like a hybrid between Pepe and fucking Marijuano. So I'm like, whatever. So I end up going to the pro office first day, right? At this time, you know what I'm saying, that I go to the pro office, I could already, they had active and non-active going to the pro office at the same time. Later on, they moved it where they would split. Like dudes that were not gang members would go, and then, they did like that, which I always thought was more dangerous because everyone knew on Tuesdays, right? Motherfucking all the degenerates were there. So anyways, as I walk in, I see a homie. It's from M Street, neighborhood in Merced, right? He's with a couple of little young homies. They're outside. Anyways, I've told the story before. We get into it. We go outside. We throw them things, right? It is what it is. I had that coming, but I wasn't going to go anywhere. They weren't running me out of town. We just had to do what we had to do. Respects. I call my uncle, though, because I'm beat up from the feet up. Come pick me up before I got jumped. That's what you get. That's what you get for dropping out. Right? I'm like, oh, man. My own uncle. I walked all the way to his house. Now, I had to walk all the way from G to over there. Then I have to walk all the way back to G Street. He lived in Alexander. We're like way on G Street. So I walked to his pad, and he's in the back barbecuing, having a good old time. I'm like, Theo. He's like, nah, I don't want to fucking hear it. He's all disappointed and shit. I'm like, all right, cool. Whatever, right? My own uncle don't like. He's not kicking me out of his pad, though, but he don't like me. So let's fast forward to the next time I do a violation. I get out. Right? Same old get down. I'm broke. Broke is a joke. No car, no nothing. And I tell my Theo, I said, hey, I call him. Hey, if you'll take me to the pro office, fuck you. You're still not active. Right? I'm like, what the fuck? My mom calls him. I call my mom, right? Heffa always comes through for her son. I call my mom, hey, get at Uncle Joey, won't give me a ride. So she's like, all right, so I got to be at the pro office today or I'm going to violate. All right, cool. All right, mijo, I got you. So she calls him. So, of course, that's my uncle's older sister. Everyone bows down to my mom and the family, right? So he's like, all right, I'll go pick him up, right? So he calls me, you better be fucking ready, Right? Like, yeah. So anyways, he never shows up. I walk all the way to the pro office. I'm mad. I call my mom like, man, I thought I had a juice card. What happened? She's like, I told him. He doesn't answer now. But what had happened was my uncle was on his way to pick me up. He was drinking and driving. He had a Budweiser. He was slamming it. The motherfucker pulls up to a four-way stop right in front of a cop, slams his beer and throws out in front of the cop. He had no respect for authority whatsoever. He figured, hey, fuck it. Hey, cops drink too. Or not while they're driving, or at least they're not supposed to. They blurp him. It's already like his 9th DUI. They take his ass. Right? I didn't know this. No one knew this. We thought he just fought with his old lady and just decided, fuck me, and just disappeared. So what happens is I go to parole that day. I end up walking in there and I had red shoelaces on my shoes. And I wasn't gang banging. It was nothing like that. I already accepted the fact I'm not in the mix. But if you guys know me, I wear the color red, I wear the color blue, whatever color I got on. And these shoes just happen to have fucking red shoelaces. They were some Air Maxes that were red, black, and fucking gray and white. And they had red shoelaces. I didn't fucking make them that way. Foot Locker did, eh? Right? So anyways, I had a fucking pro officer. Her name was Salas. She hated my neighborhood. Hated us. People from Merced know who I'm talking about. So immediately she violates me right there for having red shoelaces. She's like, take your fucking shoelaces off. Boom, turn around, handcuffs me. Boom. I'm in Tracy prison the same day I got out of prison. True stories, right? I got out of prison that morning. I was in prison that night. So I get to Tracy prison. Of course, I'm not active. So, of course, I go to the other side. And I'm right there and I'm waiting on yard. A couple days later, it's yard, right? And I'm on yard. And Merced County, we had our own little area of the bars, Stanislaus County, Modesto. You know, even though motherfuckers are not in the mix like that, they still segregate themselves by fucking counties in Tracy, right? So I'm doing my thing with a couple homeboys that I know from the street. They're like, Dan, didn't you just get out? Motherfucker, I don't even want to talk about it, right? And I'm kicking it right there, all mad at the world. And I see Avalto doing fucking pull-ups, Stanislaus County car. And there was no denying it was my Theo. He had a big old Virgin Mary on his back with Norteno on the bottom of his back, all blasted, right? And I go and I slap him on his butt. Ah! He turns around like, what the fuck? He's ready to stab someone. He sees me. What are you doing here? I said, motherfucker, you didn't pick me up and they violated me, right? I'm bullshitting him. He's like, it's all because of you I'm here for. I was drinking and driving. And motherfucker, how does drinking and driving have anything to do with me? Because I was on my way to get you. I said, he goes, how does me not picking you up have anything to do with me? It doesn't, but I just said that. So now I'm all happy my Theo's there. I achieved my goal. One of my goals in life, which it's an unfortunate goal, but it was that I wanted to do time on a prison yard with my uncle. And then it clicks. The day he left me hanging, the day I got jumped on, he said he couldn't do nothing for me because I wasn't active. I said, what are you doing over here, fool? This is a non-active yard. He said, I don't play that shit no more. I said, man. Oh, throwback from the 70s. Oh, what's good for the goose ain't good for the gander, right? That's just what it was. Now, let's fast forward years later. I moved to Washington, right? And I hook up with this chick. She's a stripper. And she's actually what got me into the club business shit that, anyways, right? We're not going to speak on that. I'm going to have everyone in America hunting for the clubs. But I was fucking with her. And my Theo happened to come down to live for a while. He was going through some rough times, right? And so I'm like, all right, you can come stay, whatever. And I had a homeboy from work. I was working in a metal shop. And he was a straight white country dude. This dude didn't even know how to spell gang. You know what I'm saying? This dude's the type, he's like a hippie dude. He just sat there, chewed on weed and played the guitar. One of them white guys. Didn't even smoke weed, just chewed on it. I don't like weed. I like hemp, right? And just a good old boy. Hey, I used to go to his house all the time because he had a badass system, PlayStation. I'd be over there fucking around and that fool be in the car. Hey, you like this song? Nope. Right? But he was a cool coworker. He taught me how to weld and everything. He was a good white dude. He was a brother. He and his old lady, it was just him. It wasn't his old lady this time. But he wanted to go out to a club. So I'm like, hey, let's go to that strip club where that chick works. VIP treatment. You already know what it is. He's like, yeah. I said, but hey, look, my uncle's here too. He had never met my uncle before. I said, you got to roll with us. He's like, yeah, cool, whatever, right? So, of course, my uncle gets in the car. My uncle's loud, and he's a gangster, and he's a tecato, and he's a drunk. He's everything that you should not aspire to be. And he's a drunk driver, so that's why we're not going to let him drive, right? So he gets in. My homeboy's kind of looking at him like, I knew you had tattoos, but I didn't know your family was like this. My uncle's all blasted, right? Crazy, OG. My uncle gets it. Who the fuck are you, white guy? Right? And he's like, hey, what's up, man? My name's Whoopty Whoop Scott, whatever. Oh, yeah, that's my coworker, Scott. He's cool, man. He's like, yeah, you get the first round, Scott? Scott's like, yeah, of course. Now, in normal people's lingo, that means I get the first round, you get the second, right? That's what it's supposed to mean, tit for tat. Not in my uncle's lingo. When he said he had the first round, tonight is the first round. That means every beer tonight is this round. I get you on the next round. Guess what? I'm not going to go to the club no more. Man, my uncle was buying my beer. My uncle was getting faded. My uncle's like, order some fries. I'm in the back fucking with the stripper chicks because I'm with one of them, right? So I'm in the bag. I'm watching Tenny. My uncle's like, can I go back there? He's filming for his old lady. He's not supposed to film. The security's about to kick us out. My homeboy pulls me to the side like, hey, bro, your fucking uncle, man. My tab's crazy, bro. He's already ordered like 19 beers. I said, that it? Said, okay, double them up. Give him one more. Make it a 20. Hey, eventually my uncle starts screaming, yelling. The security wants to kick him out. I take his ass home. I'm mad. I'm frustrated because he's very disrespectful. Take my uncle home. He's like, I used to fucking change your diapers and now you're dropping me off. Get your fucking ass off the car, man. But I'm a Norteno. No, you're not. You're a dropout too. You know what I mean? Me and my uncle, he was a good dude. Anyways, that's my introduction to the rise and fall of an OG, man. Tune in tomorrow for part 2, and I'm going to tell you what became of him, how he passed, man, what happened, and what led up to the passing for me to realize, and how I had to beat a couple of his homeboys up because they were fucking enabling him. It's going to be a good one, right? With that being said, hey, rest in peace to my Uncle Joe. I love him to death, right? Hey, if he was right here right now, we'd have been already went viral a long time ago. Thumbs up or thumbs down. Heavy's going to be the head that wears the crown. I'm going to continue to strive, struggle, and strive for what I truly believe in. That's the betterment of all people. I got a bomb-ass Super Norteno coming today, too. Ooh-wee. Tia goes crazy in this one. Or does she? One never knows, does one? Got to tap in.